Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, before I introduce all of our guests, I'm going to say a quick heartfelt shout out to JQ. Thank you very much indeed. I did an extended shout out to you at the beginning of the pre-show, so I'm not going to do another one, but just so you're aware of that, I'm going to say a big thank you to JQ for all the support he gave me yesterday in my second channel, which is called Nathan Oakley. Subscribe today if you're not already. But during the premiere of the most recent brand new uncut and after show, he was in there not only supporting me with a massive super chat of $100, but also contributed a substantial amount of money, which coincidentally was exactly the amount required and we didn't have to fix my wife's car, which is very sentimental to her. So I am absolutely elated with the support I recently got from JQ. Thank you very much indeed to you. We are joined by Eli, 10th Man, Neil, the Adam Meakin, Sleeping Warrior, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, that guy was ace because that MD guy in chat kept talking about you asking for money. So I was glad that JQ kept answering with that.
It's not like I ever e-beg. Be sure to smash the super chat, by the way. I mean, what an outrage.
It's not the point. What I said was, this is Nathan's living. If you don't like it, don't send him money.
Is that what
And the
sparked
thing
it?
you've got to
Sparked
remember,
it off, then?
the thing you've got to remember is there's not many people on our side that actually provide a service. You can't go to Globebusters, for example, and want to join the panel and talk about stuff with them because it's a closed circuit. You can't go to Delph and Beyond the Imaginary Curve. Again, it's a closed circuit. Actually, no, he does give a public link, I think. The point is he provides a service, right? And we can join, and it's somewhere that we can commune, that we can have a cup of coffee and sit down and just chat. And that is valuable. And if you don't support it, it does tend to go. You might have to get a job at the end of the day. So I support it. It's worth it.
That being said, I just want to say hello to all of the new people listening. That's like Sleeping Warrior said. There's a link to join. Come speak with us. If you have any questions about the nature of Earth, here's the place to be. Thank you.
Where everybody knows your name.
And as yesterday's show showed, it's not an echo chamber because even on our side, we don't always agree with everything. So there's definitely no siding on this show. Not like all the shows, though.
I'd agree with that.
I don't know if I'd agree with that. Certain things are off the table. I think it would,
Oh, come on, it's not
cost
an
me a
echo
huge
chamber.
number.
It'd be ridiculous.
That was a good rook yesterday. It was a good.
Well, it was a
I
good
thought-
script that Dave sent us. It was a very good script that the boss sent us.
I had a deal.
Good script.
Boxing gloves on, I'm telling you.
I love it.
Yeah, thanks for the mute, guys.
Say again. Was that sounded like Tommy?
Hey, Tommy.
Yeah, it's me. It's me, Nathan. Yeah, it's Tommy Hench.
Hello,
I'm
Tommy.
just listening in. How you doing, man?
Very well. If you're into boxing, hold on.
Man,
just one
what
sec,
you do,
just
the
one sec.
work.
Before we even get there, let's shout you out properly. If you're a boxing fan, go and subscribe to Tommy Hench. Is that the name of your channel? Tommy Hench?
Yeah.
Go and subscribe. Does commentary,
If you like
gives his
boxing.
opinions. Anyway, go ahead, Tommy. Sorry, I just wanted to shout you out a little bit.
Oh yeah, if you like, but yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate that, Nathan. All the work that you're doing relentlessly every single day is unmatched by anybody. Honestly, like kudos to you. And I know you get a lot of stick, but these people can't answer straight questions, and they're totally intellectually dishonest. It's good to hear you're doing what you're doing so consistently for so long. You know what I mean? You're a champion. You are a champion.
Oh well, I appreciate it greatly. especially coming
No
from
worries,
someone
man.
who's a
Keep it
former
up.
opponent, which is weird. But there we go.
I know, man. I know, but
So
at the end of
let's
the day, I
plug-
didn't
let's
know
plug
my own math, did I? I didn't know what the R value was. I didn't know how it's obtained. I didn't know anything about it. But as a glober, you're automatically right, aren't you? So all I thought was, I'm right, you're wrong, because I know the Earth's a globe, because I've been told it since I was a kid, not because I proved it to myself. So you put me in my place, I'm humble enough to if somebody's got a good point and they defeat me, which I was defeated, I honestly was defeated in that battle. So if I ever come up with an argument, if I ever get proof for a globe, I'll bring it to you and I'll try and argue it. But I haven't got any, so.
Tommy, you know what number show it was that you joined. Can you remind us what number show it was where you joined as a ball earther so that people listening can go back and watch it?
I think I sent you the link at some point. Probably sent it you at some point on a message, but that was probably on the old account. I'll look for it. It's probably around. I know it'd been doing it for a while by then. Probably around about 1,000 odd, 2,000 maybe.
Hold on.
1,500.
If you want to find it, it was titled because it was such a good show. So if they're really good shows, I'd give them a specific title. That was called Tommy Was, past tense, a globehead. So Tommy was a globehead. So if you typed in Flat Earth Debate, Tommy was a globehead, you'll find that show. But even then, I predicted you would convert because I was saying that in the conversation you were making concessions that suggested to me that you'd turn around in that. So I phrased it, even though at the time you were still a globehead and hadn't in any way said I'm going to turn into a flat earther. I phrased that show. Tommy was a globehead.
I remember that show because I remember thinking I quite like that guy, even though he's a bit of an idiot. I quite like his approach because it was very aggressive but non-personal. So it was like kind of like Rumpus-esque, but without the over talking. I thought it was a brilliant show.
You trying to save me? You trying to save me from Nathan? Nathan was going at me, ripping holes in me, and you were like, "No, let's just give him the benefit of that, Nathan." And Nathan was like, "No."
Clearly a good boy.
Back in the days.
I was going to say that's
that
clearly
was back in the
a
days
good
when
boy.
we had good cop, bad cop.
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, say that again. I was trying to say the same thing as you, Anthony. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was just back in the
I'm
days
just
when we had
thinking,
good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, the maths are there though." You explained the maths to
YouTube,
me then. I was like, "I don't know what they are," and you were like, "Exactly." So why are you presenting this fucking evidence? You don't understand it, you stupid idiot. And I'm like, because you think it's all of a game. That's what. Fucking logical, like cognitive dissonance at its best, and that's why like when I'm listening to you now, ripping into these globers, I know exactly the position in it. You hold them they hold their toes to the fire, and it sounds like you're being brutal, but it's because you're literally repeating back the argument to them. It's like you're telling them exactly what they're doing, and then you're responding to what you think they're thinking, and they still don't get it. You could literally give them the answers, and they still will get it wrong. It's mad. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I can admit that I'm wrong, or I can admit that I didn't know the R value, and I didn't know what I was arguing. And that's if you're going to be honest with yourself and just admit that you don't know or you can't prove it beyond reasonable doubt, then you just have to concede and just you can't prove the globe. You can't literally physically measure it. You can't prove the R value without assuming it. All the stuff that you're saying that it's accurate. And it's all getting fallen on deaf ears, but it's the truth, though, isn't it? The truth is, how else can you measure this R value? How else can you see this horizon? There's a lot of double speak and there's a lot of shit that they're doing. These globers.
Indeed.
Can I just point out as well that when Tommy changed sides and became from a baller to one of our side, there wasn't this celebratory party as though, oh my God, Tommy Hench has become a flat earther. I just want that to be put into context with somebody else that's recently defected.
Tony, I think a party is the wrong word. It's actually a ceremony.
Yeah, a ritual.
Yeah, that's because
it's initiation ritual.
I wonder who the human sacrifice
keep that
was.
behind the scenes. Come on, down.
It's common, that's why.
Actually,
Hold
the
on.
human sacrifice was the man himself.
Hold on. Every single one of us, assuming there's nobody from some Far Eastern culture or something that's on the Discord server that I haven't addressed, but just that aside, we're all Western world people. Therefore, we've all grown up with the notion of a heliocentric world. Therefore, without exception, everybody who's here, who's on the flat Earth side of this discussion, has made that transition from globe to flat. So it's not exceptional. Now, you can count on one hand how many people have converted back to globe from flat. But they're just evening back
It's true.
out.
No,
Oh, hold on, Tommy. For the love of God. Jesus wept. Thank you. So it's just evening back up the numbers. So for every one of us that's transferred over to the flat side, right, that's the same move that Ranty, I assume you're detailing in this particular description, Anthony, has done. But it's not exceptional. But to move back is.
I just didn't want to mention the person's name because there was no need to.
Says you joined and immediately started talking about Bob.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, you don't talk about him for like 20 minutes straight, Tony.
Whoa, hang on. I didn't mention Bob. I said Globebusters doesn't have an open panel. That's not mentioning Bob.
Whose channel would that be? Whose channel would that be exactly? That would be Mr. Smith's channel, would it?
Right now.
I'm just saying you've been not talking about it for 20 minutes straight on air.
Indeed,
I lost.
No,
I never mentioned him at all.
I'm with you,
I'll
Tony, in a
just,
court of law, mate.
I'll
You
just-
said Globebusters.
I'll just say Disney sucks, but I'm not talking about Walt. You know, Walt. I didn't
Exactly.
say anything about him, but Disney is trash.
That's
Man
a
United
goofy-
suck. Doesn't mean I'm talking about Alex Ferguson, does it?
Elijah, that's a goofy argument. Give it up.
Liverpool, baby.
Yeah, this is being Weasley. That's what Anthony's being right now, Weasel.
No,
That's
you
right.
isn't. You're just
Been
all
not
trying to
talking about it
demonize
for
me.
20 minutes. Right?
I'm gonna pull the victim card if you carry on.
Okay, I'll up it one notch and call you a slimy lawyer.
Right, that's it. I'm the victim.
Right, let's do a bit of housekeeping. We're like 12 minutes into this show. So, any evidence of a physical geometric spheroid horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No,
It exists and persists in the math and in the assumptions. When you look at things in the sky, that there are also similar things as what we're standing on, and thus it must be a ball.
That's not evidence. We extra
All
evidence.
right, hang on. There is evidence, or there's a claim of evidence of a geometric horizon that was formerly known as. What was the question that you asked, Nathan?
Any evidence of a physical Arwin, geometric spheroid
Yeah.
horizon?
There's a claim by someone who's claimed to have debunked Sandra's P900 or P1000 imagery from yesterday. You presented yesterday on whatever show number it was. Sandra from point A to point B, and it was showing the northern Wales coastline, and it was showing. Do you know, the name escapes me? What's the name of that rock? I can't
Great
think
Orme.
what it's called. Great
The
Orme.
moon?
That's it. Thank you. And someone's claimed that that's a perfect globe Earth proof.
You will pop yourselves on me.
That's as far as I can go at the minute.
Can I attempt to
No, could you wait
rebut
till he
the
gets to
physical
the end?
thing? It'll keep
Maybe
it
10
short.
seconds.
It's a good one. Right? According to Einstein, so it's already kind of bullshit. Not going
Arwin,
through the- not going through the
please,
Riemannian force space.
Arwin. He's in the middle of going through something, and you want to completely change the subject to Einstein when we're talking about Sandra's
No.
observation. Thank you.
To be honest, I was just giving opportunity for others to talk because I haven't done any prep on it. I've looked over what the claim is or the counter claim is, and I looked at it and I just started laughing. But I know that Flatzoid's already dealt with it, and I know he's got a premiere sorted for tonight, but he's not in today. And I don't want to spoil the thunder, but let's just say that somebody's missed the point a little bit.
So, can I make my point then?
Yeah, go on, Arwin. You can speak.
Thank you, Nathan. Right. So Einstein argued that light is actually arrested matter, or the other way around, that matter is arrested light. So by that standard, even light that we see out there would technically still fall in the same category. And therefore, if we look at an edge of a light in the sky, then by Einstein standards, we could assume that that has to be physical in its core nature, and that's why it's a sphere edge proof.
When you say arrested light, do you mean light in handcuffs?
Light not moving,
Oh.
right? It was you know what I mean, right? He suggested this connection between matter and light, that light was or that matter was arrested light. Like matter, if it moved super fast, it becomes light. If it slows down, it would be matter, right? He did utter this idea, right, guys?
I'm not sure.
I've not heard that, but he did preface it saying it was going to be bollocks because it was Einstein.
But yeah, so I just did the lawyer trick there.
That's what a lot of people still think.
So when you say the lawyer trick, do you mean lie?
Yeah.
Not lying, it's being less candid than usual.
Right. Just
Oh,
like
you watched that
didn't-
thing.
Just like you continually for 20 minutes straight didn't talk about a certain individual, right?
Yeah,
You
I did
watched
watch
that
that woman.
presentation by the Secret Service operative as well, Nathan, the blonde
Right,
woman, right?
she was very good, right? And my criticism is that she was dealing with what I maybe is kind of a more rudimentary understanding. It was a very generalized presentation, and you can only get that when you're trying to do something in 40 minutes with a crowd of people. So she had a job ahead of her, and everything she said I agreed with. However, if you like that, go and check out the behavior panel. They are doing what she does in real time. They even went on Dr. Phil and had somebody who was, under investigation and about to go to court, but they put him in front of this group of 4 people, these behavioural analysts, and they grilled him. It was absolutely glorious. Now, don't get me wrong, she gave an example too, where she showed an employee that she'd grilled about some fraud that was going on, and gave the examples of when she was being less than truthful. But getting an idea of the baseline of the person, none of that was discussed, and it's like the main focus of the behaviour panel. So from one angle, I thought it was very good. If you have never come across that subject, but by the same token, I'd just say, if you like that sort of thing, just go and watch the behavioural panel. I think they're called the behaviour panel. Do it in real time, or discuss stuff that's happened in the past, old criminal cases, things of that nature. I mean, for example, just so it's brought it back on topic, they analysed the UFO reaction from all the presidents to see whether or not they thought they were lying about it. There you go. That just sums it up beautifully, right? Right on topic. I could have taken sections of that particular discussion and stripped them right out and put them right in this show.
Should apply that to Buzz Aldrin.
Go on.
That's what I'm saying. Have you done the moon landings, Nathan?
I'm trying to...
the panel when they come back and they look as depressed as hell after doing the most amazing thing for humanity.
That's been done. That's been commissioned already. So a behavioural analyst did do that exact thing at the request of Richard E. Hall. So Richard E. Hall literally asked somebody, paid them too. It wasn't like, can you do this as a favour? He paid him as a job to do it. And they analysed it in terms of the deception. And the deception level was deemed to be high. Someone totally unbiased. It was very interesting. If you can find that online, Richard E. Hall. I think that's correct. Is it D or
Richard
E?
D. Hall.
D, my bad. Sorry, Richard D. Hall discusses the moon landing, and he analyses it with somebody who's paid as a behavioural analyst to go through that entire interview after the fact when they land, and they're like, look like somebody's just taken a dump in their cornflakes. They've just done what is considered to be the man's greatest achievement, and they all look really morose.
It's like winning the Premier League, innit, or the FA Cup at Wembley, right? And just going, oh yeah, I've won the FA Cup, and being so miserable about it. It's like, yeah, that's nonsense.
Well, they looked like they were being interrogated by their reaction rather than being interviewed about the greatest achievement ever. For instance, I don't remember seeing stars at all. That kind of answer is kind of, what you'd expect from asking somebody if they took the money out of the petty cash. You know what I mean? It was like they were being interrogated almost, and they're looking at each other when they're asked awkward questions by the guy who used to do The Sky at Night. I've got his bloody name now.
Patrick Moore.
Bloody hell, it was on the tip of my tongue, Adam. Thank you.
Is it the Apollo conspiracy? The Apollo conspiracy film by Richard Hall.
That sounds about right.
Richard D. Hall.
Yeah, that's what I'm putting right. There's the link there. I've stuck it in the.
To be fair, I don't agree with a lot of things that he talks about, but one thing that he deals with that's really good is the Madeleine McCann topic. If you're interested in that, go and check out Richard D. Hall on Madeleine McCann. It's really good.
And if you want a complete contrast to his conspiratorial take on the Madeleine McCann case, the behavioural panel have also studied very similar, if not the same, footage that's been analysed by Richard D. Hall. and he's obviously put his opinion on it, as have the behavioural panel, and they had a very, very different take on what they thought was going on. Let's just put it that way. We're completely off track.
Oh, see, you can't say that now. I'm dying to know what was the contrast.
You'll have to go and check them out, won't you? Behavioural panel. Subscribe today. They make you feel very good as a subscriber as well. So they describe their subscribers as panelists, and they do actually. They'll say, "Here's a comment from." They don't name them, but they're like, "We got a comment from a commenter, a panelist." My bad. And they suggested we look at this. So here's this. We've looked at it. We've spent the last 3 days all analysing it on our own. And now we're going to analyse it together and put our notes together. And that's what they film. And it's just them in each corner of the screen and split up into 4. And hand over to each other after they give their analysis of a particular 3-minute, maybe 2-minute, maybe 20-second section of somebody on the stand, somebody being interviewed by police, somebody in an interrogation, somebody making an appeal to the news because they've lost a child, something like that. It's all sorts of stuff like that. Or, as I mentioned, when they did the behavioural analysis of all of the different presidents, based on what was coming out a week, 10 days ago about UFOs. So, yeah, fascinating stuff if you're into it. And obviously I'm into that because hearing and knowing when someone's lying to me, that's my job now. So watching the behavioural panel is brilliant. I love it.
There was one with Neil Armstrong giving an interview to, I think, a British interviewer. And I saw that one. Did he do that one as well, where he just focused on Neil Armstrong's interview?
I don't recall that, no.
I'll try to find it and post it.
Oh, it might be something
One of
new.
the key things that they made a point about was when someone's lying to you, basically they can be really evasive with the answer. So you'll ask them, like, what colour's the sun? And the answer obviously is yellowy white, yeah? And they'll do everything about answering that question, but not say yellowy white. So, like, did you kill the victim? And they'll say everything but no. They'll say, like, well, I can't. And it's that evasiveness is what we call obfuscation tactics.
Do you know what they call it on the behavioural panel? On the behavioural panel, they call it chaff and redirect.
Well, we call that obfuscation, but we recognise that technique. We recognise that they never answer questions, direct questions. They can't say that gravity's not a force. They just can't say it. They just got to waffle about Einsteinian stuff, but never say, like we say all the time, we say gravity's not a force. They can't say that word. So when you ask them, is gravity a force? The answer is no, gravity is not a force, but they can't say it. So that evasiveness that all ball earthers present, it tells you that they are lying. Right? Whether gravity is a force or not is kind of irrelevant. Their current physics tells you, or their current science tells you by Einstein, it's an effect, but they can't say it. So that evasiveness is demonstrable with the likes of the Rumpus, with Brenda, with Zanuck, with all those people, because they can't say gravity's an effect. Why? Because then they've got nothing to explain the gas like escaping the Earth's atmosphere, because there's nothing to pull it back. Well, that evasive technique is documented well, and it's like, yeah, they're all these ballers do exactly the same thing.
The true
gravity wasn't
the
a
true
force,
problem.
then their model wouldn't work.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Eli was first,
The
then
truth-
Arwin. Go ahead, Eli.
The real problem is the media that inundates the public with fallacious logic now 24 hours a day. Whereas before the news was only like an hour, 2 hours a day. Now it's all day long, where they show you exactly how to argue fallaciously with one another. That's the real problem.
And the thing is, ball earthers don't even recognize, acknowledge, or accept that they're being fallacious with their argumentum. They think that their arguments are sound, even though they're begging the question, affirming the consequence, they're reifying mathematics into existence by calculating the radius when they haven't got a radius. All that stuff, yeah, it's mainstream, and that's why they think it's normal.
Quick shout out. Go on, and then I'll do the chat after. Or are you just making background noise for us? Riven and Cobus, can you both put yourselves on mute? You're just creating background noise. Shout out to Bjorn Magnuson. Strong name you got there, my friend. Welcome to Penguin. Thank you very much indeed for joining as a channel member.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to elaborate on what Stephen Warrior was saying. He says that they don't realise that their examples are reifying. And it's the same thing happened when I was trying to give you an example of, let's say the North Pole had a pole there, and Nathan's first response was, have I been to the North Pole? No, I haven't. Have you been there? No. So it's a thought experiment they want to participate in. And you was trying to be sympathetic, and you says, "Oh no, well let's say we do know north. That's reifying north for a start. Then how do we know that south is in different directions? How do we confirm that?" And then I still didn't realise I was reifying, because obviously in my head, as long as I got the point that, oh well, if south can't be in different directions, but then you think, how can you confirm if you all walk in different directions that
you end up antipode? Yeah, you assume your outcome when you do what you're describing. So, although it sounds nonsensical because the way Tommy phrased it, sorry, Tommy, you can obviously start at the north and move south. The problems are when they're measuring declinations of stars, the assumption is that you can get a 90-degree position to Polaris at the North Pole. Well, show us. Oh, well, we can't do that. We just have to assume that we've got a 90-degree starting point, because other than that, we haven't got any way of getting the angles in the first instance, because everything's supposed to be curved. So we need a starting point. Well, they use a starting point that nobody's actually showing you and nobody's going to, and nobody's actually verifying is actually a starting point on a presupposed spherical Earth. But the main trick is to beg the question, which is what you do when you just know you're right and you know you're already on a sphere. Well, if you already know you're on a sphere and you're going to beg the question without realising it, you're going to assert that when you travel south, you're travelling to the bottom of a ball. You're assuming that on that journey, when you move out towards the horizon in a southward direction, that you will arrive antipodal from where you began. That's just begging the question fallacy.
Yeah. You also assume that the angular change that you measure is a function of the curvature of the land you're traversing across and nothing to do with perspective. The full assumption is that the angular change is just as a consequence of the Earth curving away.
If you think about it, when you go out, I've rang Nathan and Nathan's rang me and said at times, go and look at the moon right now, for whatever reason, right? But for me, if I was trying to tell Nathan where the moon is, I would always have to reference the horizon. It's either just above the horizon or it's miles above the horizon, like vertical or whatever. But like ordinarily, you'd say it's like in your head, in my head, I'd be saying it's just above the petrol station or it's near that church or whatever. But obviously that doesn't work for Nathan, because obviously I don't know whether he's got a petrol station but the question remains, how do I know that when he's looking at the moon, he's looking in the same direction that I am? It's just assumed. How can you prove that we're both looking in the same direction as each other at the same time? And they say, well, you're looking at the moon, so you must be. Yeah, I can see the logic in that. But what happens when you're looking in like South America compared to Australia? You're both looking at supposedly the southern rotation point. But how do you know that the guy in Australia is looking at the same bearing as you? Not the same direction. You're both looking at the rotation point. But how do you know that he's looking in the same direction as you? And the problem is they've got something called magnetic declination, which they've got to adjust for on their model because it doesn't look true south for whatever reason. But the fact that that exists means they're acknowledging that you're not looking in the same direction as each other. That means that you're not looking at the bottom end of the ball like we're looking at Polaris. They're looking in different directions. They completely ignore that. They say, magnetic declination doesn't apply. Oh, really? Well, you need to explain it, because on a ball, it's got to be south, and it isn't south, is it? They just completely... But relative directions are important. How do I know that Nathan's looking in the same direction as me when we're both looking at the moon? You can't confirm it.
You can't either way, but regardless, that doesn't work for flat or globe to anyone's favour. But in the description that you just gave, you said on a ball. So long as you make that assumption, or they force that begging the question fallacy upon you, you're going to be assuming that you've got antipodal positioning when you're taking this reading, declination or otherwise. But without that assumption that you move antipodal when you go south, you're not proving anything. In other words, there is no link between these measurements of these celestial bodies, regardless of declination. But you're right, on a ball, unless you assume you're on a ball.
Can I input something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. One of the most convincing, on an intuitive level, evidences that I've seen that the Earth is not literally a ball, right? However it's connected, is basically jet airplanes flying over the sea, like really close to it, being all bro-ish, like, oh, look at me, right? But the thing is, they go incredibly fast, and you really have to be in an equilibrium to do that for a prolonged time, right? So if it was a ball, how can you get a perfect circumdicular equilibrium with the surrounding at that speed for so long? that you would be able to fly and not automatically constantly have to pull down because you're going incredibly fast over the curve. But no, they just go perfectly straight.
I think
You're right, Rowan. No, what I say to Globers, when a plane flies, right, does it behave exactly as if it would flying over a motionless plane? And they go, yeah. So it literally behaves as if it's not under a rotating reference frame. It literally flies like it's in like a closed flat. It seems like it's flying over a flat surface. It doesn't deviate. You don't see any curvature. You don't experience it, feel it, or get any deviations from any speed change. So it's literally emulating exactly what you would expect to see on a flat Earth. So it's literally flat Earth evidence, isn't it, of the behavior of a plane?
Yes, and this is something that Brian's Logic's currently calling Wolfie out for. So subscribe today to Brian's Logic, and he's been asking a question that's I don't know if this is the right term because Adam sat there, an enhancement on what Adam was currently arguing up until now anyway. And they've discussed that on this show. But moreover, go and check it out on Brian's Logic's channel, because other than being handed back really crappy strawman arguments that assume their position in the first instance, therefore assume that you're going to track a ball when you're not dropping in any way, shape or form, well, that's something Brian's actually calling out Wolfie for. So, interesting stuff. Subscribe today to Brian's Logic.
Yeah, good videos, definitely related. But in my example, it's specifically about super fast jet planes that can do this at a very low surface level and stay at the exact same height, right? With an airplane that's regular propeller airplane or whatever, I can imagine that a baller might imagine like, oh yeah, it might just go with the air layer or whatever. But with a jet plane, you're going so fast. It's like a rocket going through the air. It's very tough to keep stable, right? With the jet plane that goes that fast. Yet they manage at such a low height for such a long time. That simply could never happen on a ball, ever.
Do you guys remember a very popular show in the 90s called The Krypton Factor with Gordon Burns?
Of course.
They used to have the simulation round, and one of the rounds, as it got more developed later on in the time, it was landing a plane that was on an aircraft carrier that was out in the sea, and it was traveling. And it's acknowledged to be one of the most difficult aerobatic maneuvers that you could talk about loop the loops and barrel rolls and all that. Landing on a moving target is considered to be one of the most difficult things, because you've got to be continuously adjusting your trajectory as you're coming in. And they had that as one of their things, but it's supposed to be one of the most difficult. If the Earth was moving, then landing on a runway is going to cause you a problem, because you're meant to be moving.
They do say. I heard a NASA video I watched. And it was on about landing the shuttle, the aircraft. And it says the way they enter the atmosphere, when they come back down to Earth, they have to calculate it so precisely that if they miss it by like 2-3 seconds as they enter the atmosphere, that it could change the trajectory for like 300 miles from the landing point, because the Earth's rotating at such a high speed comparative as it's coming in. So they have to enter it at the right angle and at the right time. And if it's off by a few seconds, that's like 100 miles. It'll be off the landing point. So it's very crucial that they get the entry point accurate. So they're literally telling you that that's what they're doing in space.
So
they enter the atmosphere.
It's like the wardrobe in Narnia. You've got to enter it just the right way.
Right, quick shout out to Tony Whittaker, who says they claim orbits of satellites, which we don't see, but don't claim orbits of planes that we do see. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate your support, Tony. As it was discussed earlier, and there's a short pause while I've done that shout out, Flatzoid has got that show running in 5 hours from now, so UK time 8 o'clock or 100 hours. That's on Flatzoid's channel, so go and check it out. I don't exactly know what it's covering. I've not watched the video it's responding to, even though it's got my face on the thumbnail. But I'll definitely watch Flatzoid's video about it, so I'll be there, and hopefully you will too. Be here or be sphere for Flatzoid FE, and the show is called Ranty Obliterated. So check it out.
How many hours from now is it, Nathan?
8 o'clock UK time. 5 hours.
I'll be watching that, so that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5.5 hours from now. I'll be there with my popcorn.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about the satellites? Like, they're supposed to be geostationary, So they should just be in the sky at a position that you could point a telescope at and say, "Oh, look, there's a satellite." But I don't. Has anybody ever done that? How does it work?
I've certainly been sent videos of it. I've not done it personally. It was something that came up really early on. Now, at the time, I didn't know that orbits was a begging the question fallacy, but it's one of those that, like Anthony's described many times, if you've got an inkling and you want to see if it's right or not, you just have to put it out there and see what people come up with. So yeah, so I've certainly been sent what people claim to be a light that's completely stationary while the other stars move around it.
Not all satellites are geosynchronous. Some of them actually do orbit, apparently. They're the ones that fall out the sky and land in Brazilian rainforests, though.
Those are balloons.
Hey, you guys, can I jump in for a second?
Feel free.
Thanks. We got Napsonaut challenging you, Nathan, in chat, but he's in voice chat. Tell us all about it, Napsonaut. What you got to say about fallacies and stuff? You gonna stay on chat?
I'm a she, first of all. And
Okay.
what does it matter? What does it matter if I'm in voice chat or in the regular chat? What difference does it?
Very nice to have you.
Because you're challenging Nathan. He's right. You can talk to him.
Why are you white knighting for him?
What's white knighting?
Did you have a question? And very nice.
Why are you fighting his battle for him?
Nap, it's nice to have you. What would you like to go? What would you like to go by? What can I call you?
What was that?
What can I call you?
I said.
Not you, Anthony.
What?
What can I call you? What do you go by?
Oh, Naps.
Nap. Very nice to have you. Did you have a question you wanted to ask?
No, I had no question. I don't know why he felt the need to bring me up, but
Well, you're showboating in chat, so by requesting you to speak is a challenge for you to talk.
How am I showboating? Why am I talking about you personally? No. So what is your issue?
I think what they're trying to get across is.
But I've got an issue. I've got an issue with you.
Okay. Well, she's here now. Was there something that you were in chat discussing that perhaps you wanted to discuss with us? That would be lovely. If so, if not, don't worry about it.
I just made a comment about the terminology you guys use. It's just funny. That's the only thing I said.
Perfect. What was it specifically?
It's just like making up all these like, oh, it's begging the question fallacy and blah, blah. I'm like, I've never even heard of that before. It's like you just make up words.
So let me get it straight. Because you've never heard of it, you think I've made it up?
Definitely made up.
Oh, really? Have you, by chance, Google searched it?
Let's do so.
Say again? It bewilders me as to why somebody would claim that I'm making something up, having not actually checked by way of a quick Google search to see if it is actually something that you can find easily. Have you done that?
Okay. Let's look it up. Let's Google. Let's do that.
No problem. We'll just establish while you're doing that so far you've claimed I've made something up. We'll see how this goes.
I'm telling you right now, this is going to be bad.
You built up the wrong tree, sister.
How you getting on there, Nap? Would you like to read out what you've got in front of you? Hello?
I thought it was me. Why is everybody so silent?
We're waiting for Nap. There's a...
Yeah.
Basically, what's happened, Darwin, is in the chat, She's claimed I've made up stuff like begging the question fallacy because
I'm looking it
she
up.
is now going to interrupt me when there was long pauses for her to talk, of course. So, she's claimed I've made up a fallacy. Begging the question, never heard of it. You made it up. So I've said, go and Google it. Let's see if I have made it up or not. And now there's lots of silences.
You constantly make up things. Like, you're like the stereotypical
Why don't you read
flat
it? 'Cause
earth.
if I found it,
So funny to me.
I see. So far, you've specifically claimed I've made up begging the question because you've never heard of it. Have you Google searched it yet? That's
No.
where we're at.
I think you like to just make up fallacies.
Yeah, I heard that 3 times. We're not deaf. I heard you. You are under the impression I make stuff up. We understand that. You've said it 3 times. Now we're trying to ascertain if I have or not.
It's okay.
And you seem to be talking through me. So have you Google searched it, love?
Breathe. Thank you.
You seem to be muttering quite a lot. Can you just answer yes or no? Have you Googled something which you have claimed I have made up, yes or no? How long is this going to take?
It would not. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something, you stupid woman. I have not made up begging the question. You are just a retard who assumes I'm wrong because I'm a flat earther. Now I'm going to tear a strip off you, you dumb bitch. I have not made up begging the question. You're just a dumb bitch. And you don't know what I'm talking about because you don't know and are ignorant. Therefore, your ignorance has led you to accuse me of making stuff up. I haven't. You're thick. Do you understand me, thicko? Hello? You are ignorant. It is a real fallacy. To assume one's outcome is to beg the question. Because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean I've made it up because I'm a flat earther, you complete idiot. Laugh it up, you stupid bitch. I have not made up begging the question, you daft bint.
Wait, calm down.
Calm down? You've accused me of making shit up. I haven't. You're just ignorant. Now I'm tearing a strip off you for being an ignorant globe-believing retard who assumes because I'm a flat earther, I've made up begging the question. No, love.
You are.
So you still think I've made up begging the question, do you dumb shit? Laugh it up, you dumb shit. You're being humiliated by a flat earther for your assumption that I've made up the fallacy of begging the question. I haven't. You're just thick.
No. This is what ignorant. You do.
You stutter for me, you stammering dickhead. I haven't made up begging the question. You've told me I've made it up. You're wrong because you're ignorant. You've also, because you're completely batshit insane, told us why you've made it up. Because you assume I've made it up because I'm a flat earther. What, therefore you know better? And because you've never heard of it, it doesn't exist and I've made it up? No, that displays your complete ignorance of fallacy, love. That makes you thick.
Are you done? Are you done?
What, telling you how stupid you are? No, I will sit here indefinitely and tear a strip off you for your total ignorance of fallacy. I assume you've now Googled it up and realised your error. I haven't made it up. It's not something that doesn't exist simply because it's been stated by a flat earther. It does exist. You're just a globe believer who doesn't research a thing and can't even be asked to Google search it before going on a live show and claiming I've made it up. You stupid idiot. Laugh it up. You're the thicko here, globe believer. Let's get that clear. Do you realise how stupid you are?
Is he done?
What, telling you how stupid you are? No, I could do it all day. I get people like you coming and assuming that I've made stuff up because I'm a flat earther all the time. You have literally told me I've made up a begging the question fallacy. It doesn't exist because you've never heard of it. I've never heard something so stupid.
You fucking fake.
Yeah, swear for me, bitch. You're thick as fuck, bitch.
You're a joke.
Yeah, you're thick as fuck and you're stuttering too. How do my nuts taste, you stupid retard?
You're a fucking joke.
Yeah, you're being humiliated and berated for claiming, without any concession, by the way, you're still under the apprehension that you're in the right here, presumably having Googled it and realised how wrong you are, having been directed to do so by the only person with any common sense here. Between you and I, that is. You being thick, going on a live show and claiming begging the question's made up.
You're still talking.
I run a show, you stupid cow!
You stupid cow.
Yes, that's precisely what you are, love. You've come here and literally claimed up that because I'm a flat earther, begging the question's been made up.
You're not a flat earther. That's the thing. You're not.
Yeah, and I know what a begging the question fallacy is, unlike you, love.
You fucking
Yeah, you don't know what begging the question is and thought it was made up, you stupid idiot.
You have a whole bunch of.
Yeah, you thought begging the question was made up now, didn't you, love?
Every word.
Sorry, are you going to address the fact that you thought, because you're a stupid idiot, that begging the question was made up? Hello! You thought begging the question was made up, you stupid bint!
You're a fucking joke.
You keep swearing at me. You've got no reason to. You're the idiot here. You literally thought a fallacy that's well detailed with a simple Google search was made up because I'm a flat earther stating it, and you didn't know what it was. Well, if I don't know it and a flat earther's saying it must be made up. You arrogant twat.
You'll be doing this stupid bullshit for the rest of your life.
What? Stupid bullshit like going on a live show and claiming begging the question's made up? That kind of stupid shit.
It's a real job, Nathan.
This is my job. I'm paid to do this, to humiliate arrogant globe-believing dicks like you who will literally go onto a live show and claim that a begging the question fallacy doesn't exist. Yeah, laugh it up, you stupid cow. Yeah, laugh it up. That's how thick you are.
This is hilarious.
What? How stupid you are.
I'm laughing in your face.
What have you got to say for yourself about the begging the question fallacy you came in to claim I'd made up? Do you feel stupid? You should.
Okay.
Don't mutter. Explain your stupidity to us and the live audience.
You're not fucking worth a conversation.
Oh, really? But you're worth coming here to leave comments in my chat that I don't read and then literally tell a live audience that begging the question isn't real? You stupid mong.
You stupid mong.
Yeah, keep repeating back my insults that are based on the demonstrable fact that you don't know what a begging the question fallacy is. And because you don't know what it is, you thought I made it up.
Grow up.
Sorry, grow up.
3-year-olds do.
Sorry, growing up would involve educating myself on what a fallacy was before I went on a live show and told the host that he's made it up.
Like a bunch of idiots.
Sorry, is that all you've got, to call me an idiot 15 times through the fact that you thought begging the question was made up? Is that really all you've got?
You do nothing else but yell.
Yell at idiots who think begging the question's made up. You ever going to address the actual point here, love?
Hey, God.
You ever going to address the actual problem you've got here, idiot?
Nathan.
You going to address the point?
Carry on.
I don't need permission. I need you to address the fact you thought begging the question was made up, you idiot.
Did you look it up yet? Fucking moron.
Sat herself on mute. When she can't add homily through me like she's doing the moment the silence is broken by me, she's not going to talk unless she can talk straight through me with insults.
Like you're doing right now?
Oh. You are thick as shit. Demonstrably so based on the fact that you claim begging the question was made up simply because you've never heard of it. That makes you a demonstrable spastic. You don't have to like it, love, it's a fact. You can try and talk through it, my audience will still hear it, and every single one of them knows how stupid you are.
Congratulations, lady. You're the dumbest individual to ever walk in here.
But grow up is your response. Do you still think begging the question was made up by me, love?
Yes, grow up, act like an adult.
Sorry, is grow up your response to me asking you if you still think begging the question's made up?
You're a fucking joke.
Is you're a fucking idiot your response to do you still think begging the question was made up by me?
I think you're a fucking liar.
And is that you saying yes, you still think begging the question was made up by me?
I think you are a liar.
So begging the question was a lie made up by me then?
You use stereotypical language.
Sorry, begging the question's the subject matter that you seem terrified of because it demonstrates how stupid you are.
Smart.
Yeah, I am smart, love. Considerably smarter than your dumbass, who literally, because you couldn't be asked to do a Google search, claim a flat earther had made up a fallacy. Off the top of their head. Somebody who broadcasts literally to hundreds of people daily is going to go to the extent and stupidity of making up a fallacy like no one would ever call me on it. But you think you're so smart because you've never heard of it to claim I've made it up. That literally makes you thick, love. Like, really thick.
They talk shit about you. They do.
Sorry, are you ever going to address this begging the question you came in to tell me I've made up or not? You ever going to address that, love?
You make up a lot of stuff.
Sorry, you keep obfuscating away from the problem you've got with your claim I made up a fallacy, only to then cause a lot of ruckus when it's pointed out how stupid you look for simply Google searching it and proving yourself wrong.
I don't give a fuck.
You don't care how stupid you look. Well, just remove her.
Nathan, she's wasting our time.
Yeah, it's wasting my time, man. I
She's
wait
just
for this
triggered
show.
now. She's
Okay.
just triggered only ad homing. I've only heard ad homing from her in the last few minutes.
I went
Really?
for a cup of coffee, right? I went for a cup of coffee to come back to hear somebody coming with the most ridiculous thing. And is this the level of desperation that they've got, that they can only challenge us on just complete idiocy? Nothing to do with the nature of the earth, because they've lost there. All they can do now is come in and make something up and then just realistically just sound a little insane, frankly. And talking about calling people childish, nothing more childish than constantly ignoring somebody, yeah, and then just insulting and just throwing straightforward ad hom, which is all I've heard from that lady. And one other thing, not heard the word bint used in ages. Well done, Nate.
Yeah, as soon as you're proven wrong, you're going to have a little paddy through the person pointing out how stupid you are and talk through it. So in the vain hope that people won't realise how stupid you are, if you try and talk through the top of me telling my audience how stupid you are, for assuming that flat earthers make up fallacies like begging the question, only to go away and Google search it and realise how fucking stupid you are.
Oh my God.
And there she is right on cue while I point out how stupid she is to interrupt me. Because it's hard. It's hard to hear it. Hard to hear that you're stupid in front of a live audience, 150 people live listening to how stupid you are, love. That's really difficult for you, I know. And you're going to attempt to obfuscate that fact being pointed out to my live audience by talking through me. Yeah, nice try, love. It's not going to work. I am going to point out how stupid it is to claim that a fallacy's been made up simply because I'm a flat earther and you haven't bothered typing it into Google, you thick bint. Yeah, I will point that out over and over again while you attempt to obfuscate away from your lack of humility in this regard, total lack of humility, and your constant attempts to interrupt it. Yeah, you're not going to get that chance, you thick bint. No, I'll just point out how stupid you are indefinitely, while you rage through me, thinking that you're going to get through to my audience to obfuscate the fact that you're thick. You are. You're like every globe believer that comes here. It was detailed beautifully by Tommy before you got here. Tommy told us all about how he thought he was right just because he was on a globe, and we were telling our audience that it's flat. So obviously we're wrong. Obviously we've made up this fallacy. We're flat earthers, right, aren't we, love? So of course we've made up the fallacy. You can automatically assume that with your arrogance, that we're stupid and you're smart. And then you get in front of 150 people and get demonstrate just how stupid you actually are. She spoke through every word of that. She didn't listen to a single word.
I'd like to know what else money from people. These dumbasses is going to give it to you.
Sorry, do you think begging the question's made up? Let's see how many. I'm going to start counting it off how many times I have to ask this question.
You can ask the same question to your fucking blue in the face. I don't give a fuck.
Is begging the question made up?
You're dealing with a troll. How long are you going to do this?
No, that's not a troll. That's a normal person. She's a woman. A woman at the end of a microphone, sharing her pain after being humiliated. So she's going to attempt to obfuscate it at every opportunity, talk through it. Troll is the behaviour. Person is what we're dealing with. A person who's been humiliated, and then fight or flight kicks in. So she's going to scream and rage through me, pointing out just how stupid she is at every opportunity she's going to get. Doesn't make her a troll or a non-person, just an embarrassment to her globe belief.
Embarrassed.
This is not a troll, because I have conversations like this
with people that I'm like, well, I mean, whether they take on troll behavior, they're for real. They're not doing this on purpose. They just think they're right, and that's as far as their intellect goes.
To come on the show and think begging the question is not real? Really?
Shout out to Phoenix Rising 86. Indeed, Neil. Yeah. Oh my God. Willfully ignorant and refusing to use Google search. Indeed. It's pathetic. If you're going to go in front of a live audience and claim someone's made something up, the least you can do is tap it into Google first, right? It's absolutely pathetic. But that's the level of arrogance that we have to deal with when someone's got a globe belief. Well, I've got a globe belief. They're obviously wrong. So much so, every word that comes out of their mouth I can challenge for a live audience as being made up, only to be demonstrated completely incorrect with a simple Google search, pointed out and asked to be done by the flat earther I'm accusing. You'd think that you'd have the logical inclination to actually do that yourself, but that's the level of stupidity. You need to be pointed out that maybe do a Google search before you claim that I've made it up. I had to point that out to you, love. That's how stupid
Nathan,
you are.
There's a million and one fallacies out there, right? But one of the most famous ones is the one that's being. I'm just aghast that it's not just. It's ignorance at best, and then topped with a real good dose of arrogance on top to follow it. But fundamentally, the level of ignorance to come in and not know that fallacy and not have heard of it, and then the arrogance to then say because you've not and attack you. It is either complete trolling or really, really very, very ignorant.
It's outright stupidity on a massive scale. Shout out to Guns of Navarone RMP says, recognise her voice from Brandon's show. I feel sorry for her. Yeah, I've kind of reached that point too, Guns of the Navarone. You know, as much as people want to go, she's a troll. It's like, yeah, she's just a person. A person that's really, really stupid, embarrassingly so. Shout out to Sebastian Telio also. He's not actually put anything as far as I can see unless it's my screen. But thank you very much indeed for the super chat all the same. Really do appreciate your support.
Here's what we don't know, right? Like, or what we don't realize. I don't think, because we're out of touch. We're beyond. We may as well be a secret society. And the thing is, with people, like, they truly don't know what lies are called. That's all fallacious reasoning is some sort of logical error taken somewhere, and it's basically just a lie.
You made up fallacious reasoning.
And so the thing about that is, before I came to this place, I would detail with many words what someone was doing, how I think they're lying. I just didn't know the fallacy that was tied to it. But going beyond that, it's like I said before, how we argue in school, how our parents dictate to us. This all inundates us with this fallacious reasoning.
With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering stream, stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either the Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!